Good morning, Rise Church. It's great to be together this morning. And this is the tightest mic stand I have ever experienced in my whole life. Wow. Who tightened this thing? You have grip strength that is like Goliath. Well, good morning. Wow, this is I'm gonna need help with this.
I gotcha. There you go.
Awesome, wonderful. Well, good morning. It's great to be together. My name is Audie Monday, as Ross and Samantha shared. My wife Bethany, she'll be sharing here in a little bit as well some perspectives from her life and her walk with God as well. As was mentioned, we have gathered together from all of the United States to figure out how to save our children and our youth from the devil. So, just a small thing that we have gathered to do. So it's super small, right? That's just a small thing, and it has been an amazing 2 days with our children's leaders and our youth leaders from across the country. And when you frame it in this way, the mission that we are gathered here to do, it is overwhelming. That's why we took the perspective of God. This is God's mission. This is God's heart for every single person on this planet to have a relationship with Him. And it's the same thing. It's where we started the conference in reading Genesis chapter 15. Because God has a conversation with Abram. We know that Abram gets promised that he's going to have descendants as numerous as the stars. That's a lot of descendants. And I'm feeling pretty good about life if that's the promise God has given me. But that wasn't the most important thing that Abram was given. In verse 1 it says this: After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. Our reward is the relationship that we have with the great I Am. I have a lot more to share with you and to say and to preach this morning, but honestly, you could probably go home just knowing that God is your very great reward. The creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who spoke light into existence, He is your great reward. Whether you've come in because you're a member of the Rise Church, you have a friend that's a member, or the Youth and Family Ministries conference, God is our very great reward. Whether you're the Rise Church or the Youth and Family Conference, God is our very great reward. I feel so lucky because this is my family. And I feel so lucky and I feel so blessed by God to have an amazing wife and two amazing young boys. This is Austin and Colton. The taller one there, that is Austin. He's 10. Colton is 7. And we've been away from them for a number of days. And that's hard. But man, being away from them makes me feel very, very encouraged. And I'm going to anthropomorphize for a moment because my dog, she would be very upset if she was not included in letting you know about my family. This is Penny. Just so you know, when you see her, you can say hello, and she'll be very, very happy to see you as well. What we've been doing over the last couple of days as a conference, we've been looking at God, the different names of God. Because each name of God that He gives us in the Old Testament gives us a perspective of His character. There's not enough names that God could give us to help us to understand His heart and His mind and how He thinks about you. And He's name after name after name to help you understand who He is, name after name. And we've been looking at different names, and this morning we're going to be looking at one final name together. And it's this name, Jehovah Nissi. God is my banner. There's a lot of cool names, and there's a lot of God is Redeemer, and God is Love, and He is Shepherd, and He's all these wonderful things. And then we get to this name, and He's my banner. Like, in my family, if it's a happy birthday, that's the banner I think about. Happy birthday, like He's my banner. What does that mean? And it means a lot, actually. I'm assuming we have some Indianapolis Colts fans in the house. Are there any Indianapolis Colts fans in the house? I'm from Philadelphia. We have our mascots, but I do want to share that you Indianapolis Colts fan, you've got a really, really cool mascot. Blue is very cool. Like, from Philadelphia, I'm a big NFL fan. Philadelphia, we really care about the NFL. I am familiar with Blue all the way in Philadelphia. We see him on TV. We laugh at him on TV. He's kind of the best. Is Daniel Jones good? I don't know. That's another sermon for another time. So I'm talking with Ross. And I was like, hey, how does the church feel about the Colts? He's like, well, let me tell you about how the church feels about the Colts. And he's like, the fan of the year, the Indianapolis Colts fan of the year is a member of the Indianapolis Rise Church. And I was like, wow. So I got to go meet Allison. I was just like, Allison, I have to meet you. You're the best. Not only is she the fan of the year, but for the conference, she won tickets to go to the Super Bowl. So by the way, she gets 2 tickets. So all of a sudden, she's the most popular member of the Indianapolis church. And I was like, no, this is what it is. God is our banner. She's an incredible example of what we're most excited about. We get to root for God. We get to have a relationship with Him, and He's rooting for us. It's the happy birthday. We get to root. We get to celebrate. We get to praise. We are under the banner of God, and we carry the banner of God. Now, you may be Colts fans, and that's awesome, but you don't come from the City of Champions. I just want to let you know. We did win the Super Bowl last year. You may have remembered us. Who did we play, Randy? I don't remember. It was... So, Kansas City, that's who it was. That's right. And we let you score at the end of the game. We were so nice and encouraging. It was so wonderful. And the whole nation said, thank you, Eagles, for... So this is me and Joel Arteaga there with my boys. We're at Eagles practice celebrating what was an amazing time. The World Championship ring. We're having a great time. Now, of course I'm going to share this because I'm Philadelphia and I'm obnoxious. Okay, but there's actually a point to it. Because this is a great example, our fandom of these teams. It should be what it looks like when we're rooting for God. The zealous fervor, carrying the banner of God around this world. It's what I talked about when we started. Literally overcoming the devil's schemes, winning battles day in and day out, filled with the Holy Spirit for God. He is our banner. And we've been given this special task to carry His banner in this world. That's crazy. The Lord of hosts, the one who says, I am your great reward, says, you get to carry my banner. You're on my team. I'm rooting for you and you're rooting for me. So in Exodus chapter 17, this is what we're going to be looking at this morning. You may be familiar with this story. This is Moses and Aaron and Hur, and Joshua's down on the battlefield. Moses is given the task to keep his hands raised so that the Israelites can continue to defeat the Amalekites. But before we get into the text, I want to give you some perspective, because this is a crazy moment, this battle. It's the first battle that the Israelites fight in over 400 years. They have been enslaved in Egypt for 400 years. They go through the Red Sea, and God does these incredible miracles. We've got manna, we've got quail, we've got pillars of fire, we've got staffs separating the Red Sea. It's amazing. And then we get here to Exodus 17. Joshua comes on the scene. They haven't battled for 400 years. And now there's a conversation about this battle in Exodus chapter 17, verse 8. The Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. Moses said to Joshua, "Come, choose some of our men and go out and fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hands." Wait, hold on, Moses. So God has done all of the winning of the victories up to this point. And you're going to leave me down here, and you're going to go up there. That's crazy. He's like, don't worry, because I'm going to have some friends up there helping me. So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning. But whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. What I want to talk about today is this banner. And when we're rooting and when we're fighting, we're going to be talking about who we root for, who we root with, who we fight for, and who we fight with this morning. Because that's what's happening here under the banner of God. We are fighting and we're rooting. Joshua's down there cutting it up. The first time in 400 years a warrior has to fight. He's never seen this before. He's like, they're attacking and I've been told I'm supposed to fight. Here we go. That's crazy. They didn't have weapons. They didn't leave Egypt with weapons. That's like, God, how am I going to win this battle? Well, it's because Moses and Aaron and Hur, they're going to stand up there and they're going to stand up and hold up their hands. It's like, okay, they're rooting for you up there. Well, thanks for that. So, anybody here know John and Pat Brush? Many of you know them from South Florida. Been in ministry for the years and years in South Florida. About 2 years ago, they moved to the Philadelphia area to be near family. And John and Pat Brush, they did ministry for 40 years in Florida. And they move up and they say, hey, we want to support you, we want to encourage you, we want to help you any way that we can. Now, I can choose to be secure or I can choose to be insecure. Someone who's done ministry from 40 years, coming up, they were in Broward in South Florida. I don't know if you've heard of Broward in South Florida. They've got their building like the Rise Church and they've grown and it's done wonderful. It's like, okay, I could feel a little insecure. How am I doing as a minister? How am I doing as a leader? And they just said, no, we're here to root for you. This picture is from yesterday. John and Pat said, hey, we know you're going to the conference. Hey, we'll help take care of your boys. This is John throwing out his arm, playing some wiffle ball with my boys. They have been incredible individuals rooting for me, for Bethany, and my family. Who are you rooting for? This is my all-time favorite picture that's on my phone. This is my son, Colton, and this is the picture that I have of him that shows the most joy on his face. He decided that soccer is going to be his sport, which meant that he was going to try out for the travel soccer team in our area. Travel soccer in our area, it's pretty serious. Our high school team is playing for the state championship today or yesterday. But the boys soccer team is like, it's serious business. So he decided he wanted to try out. There was 40 plus kids who tried out. And this is we sat down as a family and said, hey, we're going to read this email. This email was, you made the travel soccer team. And the joy that is on his face right there is like, he just had to run into my arms because he was so happy. We've been rooting for him, and the nervousness that was in my heart as a parent. How is this going to turn out? 12 kids on the soccer team, 40 plus kids tried out. Like, I have no idea. I'm a ball of anxiety. That was an incredible moment of joy that turns into tears, and then he's like a bro, okay? So then he goes, yes, yes, yes. It was awesome. I love rooting for Colton as he plays soccer. It's amazing, and it's so fun to root for people. Beth is going to share a little bit about rooting.
So excited to go see those boys today, but it's been a joy being here. So we're like a traveling band, our conference. So we moved different cities, and 2 years ago we were in Atlanta and had the pleasure of doing the International Youth and Family Conference called The Blessing. And I remember being in the audience. Ross Lippincott, who made all of us cry multiple times a day the past couple days, was leading worship and doing this song for us called The Blessing. And there's part of the song that goes, he is for you, he is for, and you say it like 1,000 times, okay? He's for you, he's for you, he's for you, he's for you. And I'm in my seat, and I'm like weeping to the point that I cannot breathe. And I'm like, God, I know you're for me. I don't feel like the people I'm supposed to fly home to now after this conference are for me. I'm supposed to take what I've learned here and go home. I'm not sure they're for me. And that was a hard tension to sit in that seat and feel, I know you're for me, but these people you've put here with me, I don't feel like they're for me. And it's hard to lead like that. And I knew I had to go back and have some difficult conversations. And I had to learn two things, though, before I had those difficult conversations. And one was that God was my banner. And I learned a lot through spiritual disciplines how to establish God as my banner. And like Audie said, go home, study Jehovah Nissi. God being our banner is a very complex idea, and we have chosen one idea to share with you today. But God being our banner means that He is the leader. Me as a church leader, I'm not the leader. He's the leader. It is not my agenda in these conversations that is leading the way. He's going to lead those conversations in His timing. He's going to open doors. He's going to make a way. He is my banner, is my protector. Another line in that song is, He goes before you, behind you, beside you, all around you. He's within you. He's with you. Going into those kind of conversations, if you've ever had them, or maybe you're sitting there being like, yep, I need to go have some of those conversations, you don't always feel safe. What if Joshua was like, nah, I'm not going to fight them, I don't feel safe? Like, well, no, duh, they're coming to kill you. Like, you don't feel safe. What if Jesus was like, I don't feel safe? I'm not safe because of my circumstances. I'm safe because I am under the banner of God. And He is my victory. He will win the battle. He will win the war. The second thing I had to learn was how to communicate. I learned really quickly that I'm a terrible communicator when I'm afraid. Terrible. And I had to learn how to be a better communicator. I discovered social researcher Brené Brown. I don't know if any of you have heard any of her work. I'm a big fan. And studied deeply and went through the workbook, Dare to Lead, and learned how to be a better leader. I'm going to read a quote from that book, and I want to preface this. She used the word, it's a leadership book, so it says leader, and I'm not speaking to the leaders of this church or the elders of this church or your home church leader. We are all leaders, right? We lead our children. We lead people through Bible studies. We care for people. We are all leaders in some form or fashion. But in Dare to Lead, Brene Brown says, we desperately need more leaders who are committed to courageous, wholehearted leadership and who are self-aware enough to lead from their hearts rather than uninvolved leaders who lead from hurt and fear. We desperately need more moms who are committed to courageous, wholehearted leadership. We desperately need more dads who are committed to courageous and wholehearted leadership, more Bible talk leaders, more staff, more elders, more college students, more singles, more teens who are committed to courageous and wholehearted leadership. She goes on to say, choose courage over comfort. Choose whole hearts over armor. And choose the great adventure of being brave and afraid at the exact same time. I'm proud to say, after leaning into this for 2 years of difficult conversations, I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to see my kids. I'm also excited to see the staff and the eldership and the people that we work with. Because God won that battle. Satan's schemes were thwarted. Because he is my banner.
Rooting for people is fun. Rooting for Colton on the soccer field, that's just fun. Having people root for you, that's fun. But we also need to root with people. You know, it's different. There's people that you're on the sidelines like, hey, go, you're the best, that's awesome. It's fun to watch you succeed. And there's other people that we need to root with. You can do it. God can be your banner. It can be successful. You can be faithful. So this is a family that is very near and dear to the Monday family. So the gentleman in the middle there, that's Eric Shapiro, that's his wife Kristen. In the middle, that's Dean. Eric got baptized March 2020, the last service before none of us went to church anymore. So it was literally, we baptized them at church, and we were all like, can we be around each other? Like, I don't know. Like, are we going to see each other ever again? Like, I don't know. It felt very much like, this may be the Ethiopian eunuch. Like, poof, you're gone, man. Like, but here's how this relationship came to be. Dean is an amazing young little boy. He's the same age as Colton right there. This picture is from a month ago. This family had to move from New York City to the Philadelphia area because Dean is one of 26 children in the world that has a genetic disorder that the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia treats. They did not know God. They did not know the challenges and the direction that they would go. Eric got a job that he did not like. And at that job that he did not like, he met a disciple. That disciple shared his faith with Eric. And then for the next year, Eric and I studied the Bible, and right before the pandemic, he made the decision to make Jesus Lord and was baptized. You know, rooting with the Shapiros is different than rooting for. Because the fact that Dean is alive is a miracle. The fact that God used Dean to spread his gospel, that's a miracle. They don't worship in our region in Philadelphia anymore. They live about an hour away from us. It was because of one of Colton's soccer games that Bethany got to interact with them. And through these interactions, year after year, Kristen comes to church, and she's like, I don't know about all this, but man, am I loved here. I'm loved. I'm welcomed. Hey, would you like to study the Bible? Maybe one day. We'll figure it out. I don't know. We're treating her the way that Jesus would treat her. Complete open arms. Just the way that we think about our teams. I don't know what God's timing is. I don't know what God's timing for Kristen is. I don't know what her story's going to be. I don't know what Dean's story going to be. But I'm rooting with them. We can do it. We can get there, guys. Kristen literally texted Bethany yesterday while we were here. Reaching out and connecting, rooting with these people. This is a picture from teen camp. The teens were in the auditorium, and it was an exercise where they were praying and they were connecting to God. This is 4 families of kids here. We've got Bethany's brother and sister, the two larger girls. Those are our cousins. We've got the Hinkle family from Dayton, Ohio, and the Lambert family from Hampton Roads. And they said, we need to pray too. You talk about families rooting with each other. Look at these kids going to God. We can do it, guys. It's an amazing, amazing experience when you are rooting with individuals in your life.
You know, we have had a lot of families move away from our area in Philadelphia, and they're moving to be near family and for understandable reasons. But that leaves us kind of lonely. I kind of feel like I've moved, but I haven't moved. It's just that everyone else has moved. And so, you know, we're in a not so easy season that it feels like, who's rooting with me? Is anyone with me? Like, I'm all alone. You know, not only have my friends moved away, my kids' friends have moved away. You know, they show up to church and they're like, I don't really have any friends here. And that can create a lot of fear for me, because I know as 15 years of doing youth and family ministry, I know how important having friends at church is for your kids to make it. And I have to pray regularly, Psalm 23, that I lack nothing. I lack nothing, and my kids lack nothing. Like, God knows what they need. So grateful my boys are best friends, and they have fun, at least with each other. But I've committed with friends to just, you know, a lot of my best friends are not in my home church anymore. They're like a drive away. And so this is our very best friends, the Malcolms. They live 3 hours away in State College, and they lead the Penn State church, the church where Penn State is. And this is about a month ago as well. And we just had a birthday dinner for their son Luke at our house, and they drove. And we're just committed to driving. We're just going to drive. We're going to meet up for long weekends and holidays and vacations. We're going to just do camp together. And so grateful for places like camp, you know, and friends that even if they're far away, it's worth a drive. Because these are my friends that are rooting for my kids to make it to heaven. We need friends who are rooting, not just for our kids to be successful in sports, in school, to do all the things. And I have great friends in my community that I'm so grateful for, but they're not thinking about my kids getting to heaven. I need people in my life who are rooting for me and with me for my kids to make it to heaven.
All right, let's keep it going, guys, because the story goes on. Exodus chapter 17, verse 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, write this on a scroll as something to be remembered. That's quite the statement. Make sure that this is not forgotten. To be something to be remembered, make sure that Joshua hears what happened up on this hill. He was down there fighting. You were rooting for him. He was the one doing the fighting. We can be in a fight, and we cannot even see the people rooting for us. And make sure that Joshua hears it, because I will completely blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven. Joshua didn't win just this battle. We're wiping the Amalekites off of the earth. Whoa. Moses built an altar and called it the Lord is my banner, Jehovah Nissi. He said, because hands were lifted up against the throne of the Lord, this is the banner we carry. You attack God, you attack the throne of the Lord, guess what? The Lord will be at war against the Amalekites from generation to generation. I get to hold up this banner. I'm like, you want to come against God? Go for it. God has a plan for you. It's a bad plan. I don't have to win the battle. I get to hold up God and just say, I'm going to remember what he's done and know he's going to do it again. I don't know how, I don't know when, but let's go along for the ride. We've got people that we are rooting for. We've got people who root for us. We've got people that we root with. But you got to have people that you fight with. And I'm not talking about your spouse who you had a conversation with on the way here. That's not the person I'm talking about fighting with. I'm talking about the person, oh, it was this year. Okay, was that? Okay, fair enough. All right, we'll talk later. We can get open and confession. It's all good in the church, amen. It's not who we fight. It's not the person you're fighting with and you have angst with. It's the person that's in the battle with you. Who are you fighting with? This is the Elwell family. This is Jacqueline Morris. That was her maiden name. This is John Elwell. And it was a very, very sad day in July, beginning of July. Because the Elwell family, they live 2 blocks from us. They've been our best friends for 15 years in the Philadelphia area. And God had called them to Atlanta, Georgia. So they packed up their truck, moved down to Atlanta. For the last 15 years, this was a friendship. We literally were fighting with each other to love God. The amount of tears that I have seen Jacqueline cry it could quite literally fill a cup. That's Claire and Luke Elwell, and they moved down to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm grateful we're going down to Atlanta. We'll be able to see them over the Thanksgiving holiday. As John closed the door to the U-Haul and snapped the lever down, we gave each other an embrace. And I had resisted the tears up until that moment, and then they came flooding. Because I was like, this relationship is going to be different now that we're 15 hours apart. Who are you fighting with? John and I fighting for the gospel, fighting for the city of Havertown. That's where we live. It led to something amazing. John and I started cycling during the pandemic, reaching out and connecting with people who were cycling. And 2 days after John moved, this is Chad. 2 days after he moved, Chad, John, and I rode bikes together for 3 years. Chad is exactly my age, has a family my age, lives 6 blocks from me, and is my new best friend. And he's now your brother in Christ, and was baptized on July 4th of this year. That's the phone that he's holding there is not because he loves his phone. John is there on FaceTime as well, and we're having a conversation and a prayer together about what Chad has now experienced. Chad is the 4th man this year in our region in Philadelphia who is 43, who has now made Jesus Lord. Because we are fighting. We have partnerships in the Philadelphia area that we're fighting with each other to share the gospel of Christ. And we know that there's plenty of people rooting for us, but when it comes down to it, we got to pick up our weapons and go to battle.
The last thing we're going to talk about is who are we fighting for? Marette, Chad's wife, and I have been best friends for 7 years. That's how our husbands got connected. I want to share about 2 women that I have been fighting for over the past 2 years. They live on the opposite ends of my street, and one is a teen and one is in her 70s. Marissa is a teen now, but when we met her, she was 7. She lived across the street and quickly just became a part of our family. She always helped me with the boys' birthday parties, and as she grew into her teen years, Her mom and I were talking. She's a single mom of 4 girls. And Marissa's the youngest, and she was just sharing about kind of the searching, that Marissa was searching for God. And I just shared, that's like what I do. I'd be happy to help. So Marissa started coming over, and every single week diligently for Bible study. We're still studying the Bible. She is the most disciplined Bible studier of any teen I think I've ever studied with. She regularly follows up with me. She regularly reads her Bible. You can keep praying for her. She came to teen camp this past summer, brought a friend. So I have no doubt that Marissa one day will be rejoicing with us in heaven. Kathy is another woman. Again, she's in her 70s. And I'm a yoga instructor. I teach at the Y. And the YMCA lets me invite my class to a Christian yoga practice at our church. And, this woman, Kathy, was at my class at the Y, and she came to my class at the church, and she was the first one there. And I was like, Kathy, what made you interested in something like this? And she's like, I'm just a silly old lady looking for God. And then other people started coming in, so I didn't get to, ask more about that. But I was like, man, okay. I walked her out at the end. I was like, I'd love to get coffee and hear more about that and more about your story. And we studied on and off for 2 years. I would ride my bike. She literally, it was easier to get to her house by walking or biking, and I bike around town because we live in that kind of town. And, she got baptized after 2 years of studying, she got baptized in December, and she's now your sister in Christ. I fought for these women patiently, trusting God's timing, and still fight for them. But now I get to fight with Kathy. Kathy has quickly, we joke, I'm like, I think originally God sent me to you, but now God has sent you to me. She's just become such a treasure. I go over there for tea, and she keeps me grounded. She's just got simple faith and love for God. She reminds me of where I need to go. She's not been a part of our church for very long, so she's just very simple. It just loves God, and I love her very, very much. She's become kind of a spiritual grandmother to me. But now we are fighting together for our other neighbor, Polly. And Polly and Kathy and I are studying the Bible together and having tea every week. And Kathy actually led her first Bible study while I was here since I was away. And so we not only fight for people, but as they join the battle, we get to fight with them.
All right, one more story. So this happened almost exactly a year ago, end of November. I get a phone call, and it is one of the moms in our region. And she's got spunk for days, just enormous amounts of spunk. And so she calls me, Audie, so there's this guy, he's in the hospital, and we're going to study the Bible hymn. Can you come right now? And I'm like, right now? I might get in too much trouble if I come right now. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, guys? I got family obligations right now. It's how sick is he really? This is just what's going through my head. I'm not saying it was spiritual, okay? And she's like, well, he does have stage 4 cancer, and he's 43 years old, and he just found out. So this is Sue Olivio. She's our spunky, amazing mom, and that's her son, Aiden Olivio, there on the right. In the middle there is Danny Urdaneta. So Danny found out that he had 4 weeks to live with stage 4 stomach cancer. 43 years old. He had grown up in Venezuela and moved to the States when he was 12 and had been estranged from his father for 30 years. He lived with his mom, and his relationship was not good, and he had been divorced for a week. That was his life situation, and when he found out that he had stage 4 stomach cancer. The relationship with Danny was because Danny's son and Aiden were best friends in high school. Aiden, in this picture, he's 18 years old. So Sue and Aiden go to the hospital, and Aiden is like, we have to go to the hospital to talk to Danny about his salvation. He does not know Jesus. He does not have a relationship with him. His sins have not been forgiven. We have to go and talk to him at the hospital. So they go on Sunday night to the hospital with this mission in mind. And when someone has cancer and they just find out, you go to the hospital and there's an army of people at the hospital. There's nurses, there's doctors, there's friends, there's family. So there's about 15 people in the hospital room. And Aiden is just burning with passion to share the gospel with Danny. But he can't get an audience with Danny because of so many people. So he writes him a letter. He's like, Danny, I need you to read this letter before I leave. Danny reads the letter, gives Aiden a call. When can you come back and talk about this with me? Because nothing is more important than this right now. Sue and Aiden, that was that phone call. Sue and Aiden go to the hospital Monday, studied the Bible with him for a couple hours. Then I went and spent 4 hours with Danny and Aiden talking about the gospel, talking about reconciliation, talking about forgiveness. You talk about fighting for someone. Aiden and Sue decided, we're fighting for Danny. He's on the clock. We got to figure this out. We got to figure this out now. So we're studying the Bible. What does this mean? Danny has to get reconciled to mom. Danny has to get reconciled to dad, who's been estranged with for 30 years. And he wants to reconcile his relationship with his ex-wife. All of that has to happen before his expiration date. Over the next 2 days, I would sit outside of the room and say, all right, it's time for you to go and have your reconciliation talk with Danny, to eat different family members. It was weird. That was just like, but it was amazing. Each family member that needed to be reconciled would go and sit with Danny. And Danny's like, you know what? I didn't know any of these things about the gospel before this. I'm going to get reconciled with you. I'm going to forgive you. And my dying wish is for you to study the Bible and know Jesus the way that I now do. 2 days later, he was baptized. 2 days after that, he passed away. He thought he had 4 weeks. He had 6 days. Because Aiden fought, an 18-year-old boy, said, I have to talk to Danny about his salvation. I'm scared to talk to 43-year-old men. Aiden's like, no. The gospel is too important. I'm going to fight for him. I'm going to share with him. The family was so moved by Aiden. There was 1,000 people at the funeral for Danny. On the baseball field, Danny was a baseball coach at one of the best high schools in the Philadelphia area. They said, can you do the eulogy for Danny? Can you share about what you share with Danny to these 1,000 people? Because Aiden fought for one individual, he was given the platform to share with 1,000. That's the banner. That's God doing all of that. He wrote one letter. He just wrote a letter. That's all he did to fight. And what God did was amazing. God continues to use Aiden and his faith. This is Vinny. Vinny was baptized a week ago Saturday as another one of Aiden's high school friends. He's a freshman at Temple University in Philadelphia. But it doesn't stop there. This is Bernie Olivio, that's Aiden's dad, and this in the middle, this is the Olivio's next door neighbor. He was baptized a week ago Sunday. We're fighting. We're fighting. We are fighting for the one-day-old and the individual whose expiration date is known, and everyone in between. To share the gospel of Jesus, because there's nothing more important under the banner is that everyone knows God. At the end of the day, if they don't know God, there's no great reward. We know what their end is going to be. It's going to be demise, and it's going to be destruction, and it's going to be terrible. I have chosen in my walk with God under the banner of Christ to have people that I root for, to have people that I root with, to have people that I fight with, and I have people that I fight for. It's all these little different areas of my life. And God continues to bless it, and He continues to encourage it. But it's simple. That's what you need to take home today. Who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting with? Who do you fight for, and who do you fight with? At this point, I want to invite our worship team to come up and lead us in one final song as we have this perspective. God is our banner. To God be the glory. Amen.